Welcome back to my channel. In this video I wanted to discuss this book. I know I've shown this before on my channel, especially when I'm talking about books for children or raising children. And well, I don't think I necessarily include this when I'm talking about raising children in Wicca or in paganism, but I had bought this for my oldest girl a few years back, and I got it because I wanted her to know about different world religions. I wanted her to understand that there was not just one belief system, that there were many, and far surpass what's listed here. These are the more, I think, well-known religions, and the main reason why I got this one in particular was because it included Wicca in the book, and it was difficult for me at the time to find a book that was a children's book about world religions that included Wicca in it, or even if it included paganism. So what I'm going to say is recently she's been reading this book, and I saw it on the couch a few days ago, and I decided to thumb through it and see what exactly does it say about Wicca. Sorry to hit my light. And you know what? Here. Okay, so she starts off by saying, Wicca is a religion that is focused more on spirituality and less on one supreme being or God. Wiccans get their spirituality from the seasons of the earth, like summer, winter, fall, and spring. Okay. I can get with that basic definition. But she goes on to say things like that we hold festivals during lunar and solar eclipses because we believe this is when the spirits are trying to communicate with the world. It almost sounds like in order to communicate with spirits or the dead or your ancestors or what have you, you must do some kind of, you have to wait to the eclipses, solar eclipse or lunar eclipse, that these are the best times. I don't even really get these are the best times from what she's saying. I'm going to assume that might be what she's trying to say. But there are other times in which you can communicate with the dead. You can communicate with the dead at any time, on any day, especially if you have built a rapport, especially if you are more practiced at it. There are certain times in which it's even better, or the veil is thinnest, which would be like Samhain. Some would even say an in-between time, which an in-between time would be like midnight, whatever. During the eclipses is not the only time in which you can communicate with spirit. That's all I'm saying. She also says, she talks about the fact that Wicca developed from belief systems that predated Christianity, that Wicca itself was known to start around the early 20th century. That's fine. She discusses magic, and in it she states that Wiccans, we believe in magic, we practice magic, but she says that Wiccans believe the spirits of the world will make things happen for them if they are summoned through a ritual. To do spell work, you don't necessarily have to do a whole ritual. I'm going to assume perhaps she's stating ritual as the spell work itself. And again, that all depends on what you do. Do you call on the dead, on spirits? Because she's not saying spirit, she's saying spirit, so I'm assuming she means like the dead, is my guess. I don't work with the dead, mainly because I don't feel practiced enough to do so. I call on my deities in any spell work that I do. So there's that. She discusses white magic and black magic. And she says that white magic is, when you're healing, doing good deeds, you're getting rid of evil spirits. However, she goes on to say Wiccans also, on the flip side, there are also Wiccans who use their magic rituals for evil purposes, and that those Wiccans use magic to kill or cause great harm to others. If you are practicing Wiccan, if you're Wiccan, you are not doing that, because you recognize the Wiccan Rede, which states, do as ye will, as long as ye harm none. If you are not to harm anyone, if you're following the Wiccan Rede, then by definition you cannot do spell work to kill people, to cause people great harm. You can do, and you'll even have some who will argue even this, a return to sender kind of thing. And so someone sends harm to you, you return to sender, and so that harm is sent back to the person who tried to harm you. You'll have some Wiccans that will argue against that, because that too, even though it was more of a reflective thing, you didn't do a spell work to set out to harm someone, but you are reflecting back what was sent to you. Some will argue that that too is harming, and so they won't even do that. I feel like some of what she says is accurate, some of what she says is misleading, and even in some cases inaccurate. I feel like she's not Wiccan, obviously. I don't expect her to be Wiccan. I don't even expect her to necessarily be one of the religions in which she writes about in this book. What I do expect is that when putting information together, especially for children, yes, you do want it to be clear and concise and to the point, but at the same time, you want it to be as accurate as possible. And I feel like she might have just done some internet searches and called it good. I mean, I didn't even read the other religions in here. I'm going to err on the side of caution and say I'm pretty sure most of the mainstream religions she might have gotten right. She herself, I don't know what she practices. I'm not even gonna say that. She has other books. So a list here. Some of her other books are Hinduism for Kids, India for Kids, Indian Religions for Kids, Mahatma Gandhi for Kids. So I applaud her in including Wicca in her book, but I feel like you would be doing Wicca a better service if you had more accurate information. I am going to try to find another book for my daughter that discusses world religions. I'm desperately going to try to find one that includes paganism or Wicca, something to that effect. This book discusses religions like Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, atheism, which my husband argued atheism is not a religion. Sikhism, Judaism, Baha'i faith, and I could be saying that wrong, and if I am, I do apologize. That's not my intent. Confucianism, Jainism, Zoroastrianism. I might be pronouncing that incorrectly as well. I apologize if I do, if I am. Shinto, Wicca, shamanism, and Taoism or Taoism. So I mean, I do like that she was trying to give something to discuss religions around the world. These religions are, I believe, are the more well-known religions out there. There are hundreds of religions out there. Obviously, hard to include all in one book, but I think this is a great start. Again, it's kind of like a jumping off point. It gives us a place to speak, to start at if she has any questions for me. Over the years, we have discussed what I believe and my views on things, and sorry, I'm thirsty. We've discussed, we've had meals to honor the Sabbats. We don't do it every Sabbat, but I try to do something when we can, if there's enough money to have a nice, well, not a big meal, but something specific to the Sabbat. Sometimes we do that. Sometimes we'll do crafts. It all depends. So I do think this, it's a starting off point. It's a conversation starter. Let's put it like that. Anything that she might come away with that I feel is inaccurate, we can talk about and discuss and correct and so on and so forth. So all I want to say is, one, if you don't read the books beforehand, ask questions as they're reading through it. Open up a dialogue so that you all can just discuss it, and you make any corrections that you feel like needs to be made. Like, what? They said what in the book? So, but that's basically it. So thank you for watching, and blessed be.